my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Chrysalis Experience. My name is Tiff, and thank you for joining me today. Before I get started, let's go ahead and shout out to our sponsor, the Chrysalis Experience, which you can find on Amazon.com, a book that I wrote. You can get it in hard copy or you can get it in ebook. So go pick yours up because it has sponsored my channel. Wow, I have sponsors. That's so cool. Anyways, y'all, random thought. Why, when I was getting started, I don't know if y'all seen iCarly before, but you remember like iCarly was about streaming before live streaming was really a thing. And so I was just like singing the song while I was getting everything ready, the theme song. And I was like, I don't want my video to get flagged, but y'all know the theme song. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it, how they have subliminally like programmed us to all be content creators. Thank you, iCarly. Anyways, let's move on. I'm super hyper. I got a lot of energy. I have a lot of energy. I'm a little bit manic today. Okay. Y'all remember when I told y'all I have bipolar disorder, ADHD, and OCD? That can make me extremely manic when I'm excited. So let me take a deep breath. Let me chill. I want y'all to hear my words today. I want them to be impactful. So I can't sit up here speaking a million miles per hour. All right. Woo. I'm excited about today's topic. If y'all know, then y'all know the Chrysalis Experience is about healing ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. So with that being said, there's a lot of things about ourselves that are broken. And a lot of the times we don't know where that starts at. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, brokenness starts from childhood for most of us. So let's get into it. And then we just build upon it. But anyways, let's get into this message. All right. So we're going to start a series and it's going to last for a few episodes. And the series is going to be titled How Childhood Trauma Can Stunt Your Development. You heard me right. How childhood trauma can stunt your development. All right. I'm trying to bring down my manic attitude and bring up my podcast, the podcast God that is inside of me. So let's get started. What pushed me towards this topic is I know a lot of people in my life, to include myself. You hear that, Gila Monster? To include myself, who has been through some sort of childhood trauma. And the result of that has been a lack in my development. And the result of that has been a lack in a lot of people's development. I watch people around me and I realized as I'm growing up and I'm having more as I'm growing up and I'm discovering myself and I'm understanding others while understanding myself, I'm able to have more grace for them as well as for myself. And so at 33 years old, I've chosen to fully forgive my parents for any and everything that could have happened in the past. But I believe that oftentimes people ask you to forgive and forget. And people who are still suffering from their childhood trauma, they are in this constant loop of hurt and pain because they can't forget. And forgiving someone doesn't mean forgetting who and what they're capable of. It just means you don't hold this grudge towards them. You have created a space in your heart for them where you can potentially love them to the fullest of your capabilities without always bringing back to them what they've done to you, right? So forgiving is not a tool that is meant to manipulate a person into forgetting who your true character is. No, when a person forgives you, they're saying, I know who you are. I recognize your character. You hurt me, but I forgive you for it. Now, going forth, I'm going to treat you like I know who you are and recognize your character, but I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm just not going to be naive to who you are. So a lot of people who grow up with childhood trauma, and I don't want to diminish anyone's trauma. So you could have had severe trauma, you could have had what someone else may have called minor trauma, but either way, your trauma affected you and it shaped you, and it matters. Oftentimes people who grow up with childhood trauma, they'll say things like, "Man, I remember my mom one time, she beat me for 3 hours and then she got tired and came back." And then another person's like, "That ain't nothing. My daddy threw me down the stairs one time." And everybody's laughing like it's funny. But in actuality, it's not funny. And you realize how unfunny it is when you have your own kid and you choose to react differently than how your parents reacted to you. And while you're looking at your child and you're having a different reaction, you can't help but to see yourself in your child and to say, wow, I was only this age. My parents made me feel like I was the worst person in the world. But looking down at my child, seeing how small they are, seeing how underdeveloped they are because they're immature because they're children, and then thinking about the lack of patience that my parents had for me. This type of thing helps you to get through your trauma because sometimes in childhood trauma, when your parents are, I always say that when you're a kid, your parents are your judge, jurors, and executioners, right? They hear out your case. If they feel like you were telling the truth, they'll be your lawyer and they'll fight for you. They feel like you're full of it, they'll go against you. And in the end, they will set the punishment and they will take out, they will be the ones to um, fulfill that punishment. So, if you got bad grades and they hear what you're saying and they're like, okay, you haven't been trying hard enough, they may say you haven't been trying hard enough. And for that, I'm going to take away all these things that you have and I'm going to put my hands on you and I'm going to cuss you out because they can do that because who's going to tell them no? We live in a world where children aren't protected. And so imagine you're a child and you feel like you can't communicate with your parents because they'll fly off the handles. You can't tell your parents the truth because truth is not a safe space in your home. You can't afford to fail because failing breeds punishment instead of encouragement. So as an adult, we go through these things as children, and then as an adult, we come into the world and we may be of age, but we're lacking so many things that are vital to even connecting with your next door neighbor. And we're lacking these things because as children, not only did we not get these things, but we learned the wrong way on how to respond and the wrong way on how to do things. And then we were told what happens in our household stays in our household. So now it's a secret. So now once you become an adult, you're thinking, no one else has been through what I went through, not knowing that your next door neighbor was going through something similar, but it wasn't discussed growing up. So, I appreciate the world that we live in today because we have an ability to connect to each other. And I feel like it's my purpose and my job to connect to you all and to tell you that you're not alone in these situations, but you can rise above what happened to you. And you can be a sustainable adult in this world who is not only victorious, but is successful, not in your career, successful in your home life, successful in your relationships. You can in turn be a successful parent. But first you have to do the work to heal. And hopping into a new career every few years, moving to different states, constantly traveling, constantly having new relationships. This is not the way to breed. This is not the environment to breed healing in. So I see so many people, they'll get married time and time again. They'll get new jobs. They'll move to different states, whatever the case is, they're off that load of what's too hard for them instead of doing the work to figure out what is going on with them. So I'm here to do the work with you guys. And I'm here to not point the finger at anyone because, like I said, I forgive my parents and I love them so much and I appreciate them. But I have had one on ones with them. So we're well aware of what we've been through. My parents and I have had gone from screaming matches to not speaking to each other for years. We've been through a lot to come to the place today where I can say, I love and forgive you. They can say, I love you too. I apologize for my actions, and we've moved forth. So, getting back on topic, um, how childhood trauma can stunt your development. It will make it so that you're when you're emotionally damaged, and when you're emotionally damaged and abused, abuse is instilled into you in such a young age, it can be extremely debilitating for your future. You can lack proper communication skills, lack emotional maturity. You can lack self awareness. You can become a person who's hyper vigilant. You can become a person who is extremely defensive, and you're coping your way to keep yourself safe, and a coping mechanism, maybe your defense mechanism, I'm sorry, maybe to put up walls to protect yourself. You may fear communicating with people. You may fear the truth. You may fear a person's reaction at all times. So you may not even be the person that feels comfortable communicating, period. You may self isolate. You're going to always be on self preservation mode. And you tend to be skeptical to any type of genuine love in relationships. Week by week, we're going to go through some of those topics. But for today, I wanted to start at the basic one, which is self preservation and what all that encompasses. So, when you're a child and you're growing up in a household where it could be physically, mentally, or spiritually abusive, because I want to make sure we understand that there's different forms of abuse, and manipulation is key to every single one of those abuses being successful. If I am a parent who puts my hands on my child in a way where I shouldn't be doing so, and my child says, I'm going to call 911 on you, and I say, call 911, they're going to take you away and you're going to go to a worse household. And, your life is going to be so much worse without me. Or call 911. You must want mommy to go to jail. If I go to jail, then you're not going to have anyone to love you. That's manipulation. You're manipulating your child to believe. Or there's the other one, the call 911. They're just going to send your little ass back here anyway, and I'll do it all over again. See, imagine believing that you are being handled in a way where you need to go get help as a child, and your parent is manipulating you to make you believe even if you go get help, your life is going to get worse. It's going to be worse for you if you go get help. You don't need help from me. I am your help. And so you're bred to believe that if a person pays your bills and they cook food for you and they do everything for you, that it's okay for them to put their hands on you. But you know that you don't like that. So you go into self preservation mode. You may not say anything at home. You may become your parents' yes man, their footstools. You stay out of your parents' way. So this is making it so you lack love, you don't feel safe in your home, and that self-preservation carries on to adulthood. So you never learn how to make genuine connections with people because you have to keep a wall up. Because what you learned as a child is when a person says that they love you, they'll abuse you. When a person is caring for you in any type of financial situation, they'll abuse you. So in self-preservation mode, you go get a great job. You make amazing money. You ensure that you always have a place to lay your head, because you never want to put yourself back in a place where you have to rely on people, because what you learned at an early age is when you rely on someone, you were weak. And when you were weak, you were vulnerable. And you are never going to allow yourself to be weak and vulnerable again. And once that self preservation kicks in, what it does is it actually creates walls around you. So as you're ruining relationships with everyone that's not your parents, everyone who does potentially love you, you don't care because you're thinking, I'm gonna have me first. I'm gonna take care of me first. But there's a sense of knowing that not everyone is out to get you. A lot of people are, but a lot of people are not. And this type of self preservation can be extremely crippling. It can be crippling because when you don't give yourself the ability to be in a community or to be around, have people that love you in your life, you're stripping something that is necessary in order for you to live. You may have came into this world alone, but you were attached to somebody. We are not meant to survive on our own. We are not meant to isolate ourselves 24/7. We are meant to have a sense of love and to feel loved. But if your first introduction into the world is some type of abuse, some type of mental abuse, physical abuse, or spiritual abuse, and you guys know what I'm talking about, spiritual abuse. If not, look at a lot of people who leave the Amish community or who come off of an occulted, community. Those people is what I'm saying. Spiritual abuse, even in Christianity, when you're telling your kid, you better repent for every little thing you do, or you're going to hell. Oh, you lie, you're going to hell. That's spiritual abuse when you are overutilizing your religion in order to control your child, or in this case, for you to be controlled. Um, it's important that we heal from these issues. It's important that we heal from these issues, but we also know that we're not alone. So, my advice to those who are going through a journey of they feel like, dang, I don't feel like I connect to anyone. I'm incredibly alone. I don't trust myself to develop good relationships with people. I can 100% tell you I used to be there. I used to be there. And the best bonds that I ended up having with some people were trauma bonds. And now that I'm out of this area of hurt and pain, those trauma bonds, they are on shaky terms because I'm realizing, I don't want to sit around and talk about how I've been hurt all the time. I don't really want to have a contest with you of who's been through the worst what. You can have it. You can win. I don't want to go through that. Um and so I'm here because I really want to connect with y'all in a way where we can all get the same understanding that the road to healing is hard and it's dark and it's scary, but it's necessary because you can be missing out on so many beautiful things in life just due to the fact that you can't let go of the hurt and pain. And it's not an easy thing to do. Healing takes years. But like I said, if you're on, step 1 of life, which is self-preservation, you are missing out on so much beauty that this world has to offer. And you deserve to have that beauty in your life. You deserve to feel loved genuinely. You deserve to give out genuine love. You deserve to feel cared for and safe. You deserve to know that you're not alone and that there are other people who you can connect to who've been through this with you. You deserve to feel like you matter because you do. You are worthy of love. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you guys something that I already have within myself. I know that I'm worthy of love. I know I'm worthy of forgiveness. I know I deserve all the happiness in the world. And I'm not going to allow anything or anyone to stop me from getting that. I'm not going to allow anything or anyone to stop my child from getting that. And if I can help it, I'm going to be here for y'all too. So I can't wait for y'all to come back tomorrow because we're going to start this series. And it's going to be such a healing series, guys. It's going to feel so good to the soul. It's going to feel like it is. I'll say it like this before I leave. There's a time to be hurt and to think about what you've went through. There's a time to feel that hurt, there's a time to process that hurt, and then there's a time to get over it. I hope that as we go through how childhood trauma can stunt your development, you can identify where you were stunted at so that you can start your journey of healing, and or you've already started it and you're trying to get through it. You can get through that journey of healing and come on the other side. Because I dreamt about the other side for years. I can tell you what, I didn't know this is what it felt like. It's freaking amazing. And when I first started being a content creator and I had talk with Tiff, I was in the midst of my healing. It was a difficult journey. And like I had said, I'd brought a lot of bitterness to the camera because I was hurt and I was trying to make sense of it all so I can heal through it. This journey that we're about to go on is going to be a chaotic one. And if you're already in the mess, you know how hard it is to heal from any type of trauma. But unfortunately, the key to it is heal, get through it, and get over it. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the Chrysalis Experience. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know that the subjects we talk about are hard. I know that they're not fun and they can be a little bit boring, but healing is hard. So join me next time on another episode of the Chrysalis Experience. I love you guys. Blessings to you all.